Hello and welcome to Boardscape. I'm Aaron, and today we are going to be going over a few new 5th edition RPG-based Kickstarter campaigns. Now there's not a lot this week, but what we do have is definitely worth checking out. First up is a much anticipated 5th edition fantasy RPG-based guide, Dangerous Destinations. Now, as you can see here, this has been just dominating when it comes to backers. Over 3,000 backers, 23 days to go. Nord Games, I mean, they know what they're doing. They are an established company, and their stuff has been great in the past. Dangerous Destinations is going to be primarily for Dungeon Masters, right? Now, in this, it's all about the creation of, as it says, dangerous destinations. In this book, it is the definitive guide to creating intriguing and dynamic destinations for storytelling and fantasy role-playing games. Now, it's broken into three sections, right? You have the destinations, the environments, and the dangers, antagonists, the things that fill up these destinations and environments. One of the biggest, hardest, sometimes most complex parts of being a GM is coming up with all these new, exciting things, especially if you've been a GM for a long time. It's easy to just, when you already have ideas in your head, it's hard to think of new ones. That is what this book does. This book is all about the creation of these areas that you can then throw your party into. It shows us here that the destinations that it comes with include burial grounds, camps, fortresses, headquarters, hideouts, outposts, religious sites, and even more than that. So these are all places that almost any campaign is going to be running into. Now, on top of that, it has environments, the aquatic, the coastal, desert, forest, jungles, mountains, plains, swamps, tundras, undergrounds, urban, and extraplanar. All these different environments that you might find a campground in. What happens when your party is walking along the beach in a coastal region and they come across a campfire? What are the dangers that are going to be there? What epic events are going to happen? What kind of villains are going to show up? Or monsters? Are they going to find dead bodies and this Tyrannosaurus eating them? Like a mini Tyrannosaurus? Or are they going to come across a fortress in the forest and find out that this has actually been a hideout for some villains that have been searching for this party? This book just brings all of that together in one place where you are able to just set your own pre-assumptions aside, set your own ideas aside, and just sort of spark creativity. Dangerous Destinations is, where's the price? It was right here. $10 for the PDF. I love PDFs. I like to just be able to put them all on an iPad, reach them whenever I want, be able to scroll through easily. But for those of you that like hardcovers, $40 is not bad. That's, I'd say, pretty average. So if you're a GM, if you struggle with coming up with locations and different events that are happening, this is going to be a book for you. Next, we have something that looks fun. There's maybe almost 300 backers, and with just 300 backers, $24.5 thousand. Now, these are extremely curated dice. I know dice are a dime a dozen on Kickstarter, right? But what really stands out to me about these is how you can just sort of create these dice specific to your characters. Maybe you're playing a mage. Maybe you're playing a gnome mage, right? And you can pick the color of your dice, you can make these dice specific for that mage. Now let's scroll down here and I'll show you a little more. They are a little bit expensive, but a lot of times dice are. Here, total pledge level for a D20, 2 D8s, a D6, a couple D6s, $70. You can check out the pledge levels, but I would say close to 70 or more if you're looking for a full set. But how you build your set. Now this is what's worth checking out. And you can click here to see all of the designs that they've come up with. First, you choose a class. Grab the hero version. So you are selecting, okay, maybe I'm looking for, like I said, more of a mage-based class or a druid-based class. You can select weapons. Look, you have daggers on this one, bows on this one. What kind of weapons are your people using? After selecting your weapon, you can select the damage type. You can make it look different. This looks more like an ice cube, a snowflake. You've got in the background here just a variety that you can look at. Fire, these devil horns or whatever they might be. Alchemy maybe. I'm not sure what they all are, but you can check them out. And then you can even get runes on them. Like if you are a mage or whatever, and maybe you're going for a fire mage, you can have your 6 spot be a fire spot. You can have this be like a heart healer if you're more of a cleric type. So you can change your color, you can change all the iconography, you can do all these things to curate this dice set to be exactly what you want it to be for your characters. And it gives you some examples that you can scroll through. You got red and black dice for this rogue. You've got, for this fighter, you've got blue and black and this variety. You can check all those out. But if you have been looking for some dice that are particular to a class or a character that you plan to play for a long time, here it is. Next is one that next and actually the final one, is something that I am extremely excited for. That is Shintiara, the Crusade of Time. It's got almost 200 backers, $14,000 raised, 17 days to go. And this is going to be an entire fantasy, sci-fi, time-traveling adventure set in the 5th edition with the 5th edition rule set. And this is an entire campaign, right? So, as we scroll through here, one thing that I will point out first is that if this campaign interests you, then they have a 70-page quick start guide with 6 pre-generated characters, with a temporal dungeon. You can check this game out with your group, do a one-shot, see if it's something that clicks. Do it within the next 17 days, but if you're interested, they literally give you the game and say, here, check it out. And there's not too many 5th edition campaigns that do that, right? A lot of them are too afraid of people stealing the ideas and running with them. But they say, screw it. We're going to give it to you so you can see that this is a product that you want. Welcome to Shintiara. Shintiara is a world that combines sci-fi and fantasy, a planet delineated by temporal paradoxes that exist on the event horizon, produced by Cyre the Sun and Murray the Black Star. Now it tells us that, as we can see here, here's the planets of Shintiara. Here is the star of Cyre and Muria, and about 300 years ago there was a catastrophic event where Muria turned into a black hole and ruptured the space-time continuum around it. So as Shintiara goes around and around, there's this pull between Muria and Cyre as they are sort of battling for this planet. And you are on this planet, and with Muria turning into with this great darkness that has overlaps this whole area, you have sort of figured out how to shape time even without magic and technology. It's just sort of ingrained in you. The flow of time is just a part of you. So you are all playing these time-traveling recruits as you are trying to stop an apocalypse. And it lays out the whole campaign here. So it's got a map of Shintaria. It's got what a temporal dungeon looks like with alterations of time, where you have point A where you start, you're going along to point B, but then something happens and it sends you back in time, back to part A. You've already done this first part. Now you jump ahead, back in time again, and something's changed. Because you've already done B, and you've gone back in time, now something has changed, and there's a split in the timeline. This temporal dungeon is a space and a place which is situated around one or more veils, which are time portals. A way for you to bend time. The power of time is in your hands, and there are 8 different ages, which we will get back to in a moment. But throughout all of this, you're these recruits, you're getting tachyon energy to form paradox points, you're accelerating and slowing the passage of time as some spells, you're passing through veils, you're looking into the future. You're doing all these different kinds of spells, exorcism. I mean, that's a classic, right? But in this case, they do it in a way of, in the terms of time management. So they have these little twists on everything, right? They lay out here a whole bunch of playable races. They have the Guardians, which are equipped with bat and demon-like wings, and they give you the whole layout of these Guardians that you can come and look at. You've got the Skirths, who are these little rat-looking creatures that are called the opposite people. You've got the basic humans. They didn't even feel like leaving a page. Y'all already know what humans look like. You've got Whispers, which are these this race of spirits of lights, these dimension spirits that have sort of come into our time. They take on a material body for 60 years. You've got the Zolcanians, who are these extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional beings. Little lizard-looking beings. You've got the the fish dudes, I don't know, Zycruel. And nobody really knows what they're about, except that they are very evil. So, if you want to play as Zycruel, you can. You've got all these awesome races that you can check out that just sort of, again, all revolve around this aspect of time management, this extra-dimensional, extra-planar world. And it goes a little bit into some of the classes you can play. You've got Time Dancers, Void Walkers, Chrono Guardians, along with new backgrounds and archetypes, of course. So, beware of the apocalypse. Your whole job in this campaign is to stop the apocalypse from happening. And there are 24 circles along 8 different ages, 3 circles per age. And as each one gets filled in, you are moving closer and closer to the apocalypse clock. The shifting of the apocalypse is managed by the chronicler via the apocalypse clock, and it's broken into these phases. Certain events, every adventure or campaign treats the apocalypse as one of the protagonists. It's actually a part of one of the biggest parts of the campaign. The apocalypse is expected to happen at the end of the 8th age. So you're going around, and the ways in which it will happen are uncertain, but you have an idea of when. Certain events, however, might manage to shift it either forward or backwards in time. So as you are going through your campaign, you are trying to push the apocalypse off or bring it closer so that you can try to stop it. Overall, I'm excited for this campaign. It looks amazing. It looks awesome. Something different than what we've seen in the past. And really, money-wise, it's not anything more than I would expect. You've got the recruit pledge here, or here, the Tachyon Acolyte. So for $31, you can get the 2 books, the Chronicler's Codex and the Recruit's Guide Core Book in PDF. $30. The Hourglass Master for $55 lets you have a hardback of the core book and a PDF of the Codex. And for $102, you can have hardbacks of both. And then there's some extras that you can look at as well. And obviously some add-ons and whatnot. But if this is a campaign that looks fun to you, if it looks like a campaign that would be good for your group, something different than your typical fantasy adventure, or even different from typical apocalyptic adventures, but one fully revolved around time travel, then this is a campaign for you. So that's what we have this week. Thank you, and until next time, make sure to game on.